Black anime characters that could survive the hood. That is what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to just say one thing. This is not going to be a power scaling video. Yeah, no, I mean, it literally takes like a second to think about it. Like, if you're putting like the average anime character against a bunch of skinny goons who are like the more aggressive equivalents of beggars, then like 9 times out of 10 they're probably just gonna get absolutely folded. And that's why today we're gonna be judging more based on, you know, how much these guys would fit in if they were to be sent in the hood. And when we're talking about the hood, we're talking about places like Cleveland, Croydon, Brixton. I don't know about the places in the US, but I'm pretty sure they're worse. But like, you know, you get the idea, the type of place where there's a bunch of weed stinking brats. But today, here we are, we're going to be talking about Afro Samurai, Miguel from JJK, Muhammad Avdol, and even Mr. Popo. And we're going to be ranking them based on how they would deal with living in the hood. If you would like more of this type of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers within the end of the year because like I said before, we're on a really good pace. And I'm going to be dishing out more types of content where I can yap about that you guys can listen to. But with all that being said, let us get into the video. Agil from Sword Art Online. Loki, whenever I think of like the average build of a black person, I think of Agil because I swear to God, I'm pretty sure this man doesn't do like an extensive amount of exercise, if you get what I mean. Like he's a barista at day and at night he's a hardcore gamer. Nah, like deadass, that is literally like the main question for me, right? How does Agil have the time to obtain that kind of physique that he has when he's literally got his entire day occupied with being a hardcore gamer? Like, okay, maybe I'll understand it if he's like trying to maintain like a healthy looking physique so that what was I gonna say? Just so that like his avatar in game doesn't look like an absolute gammon joint and a half. But like, now that's the thing, like he doesn't have enough screen time for me to determine what he actually does, apart from being an enlarged coffee bean. Like you gotta do it more respect. Okay, this is gonna be like a small sidetrack, but if any of the Japanese cafes, you know, because like the Japanese cafes, they tend to do a bunch of collabs with a bunch of franchises. The next one that does a collab with SAO, you gotta give Agil some justice, bro. You gotta put him at the front and not Kirito. Kirito can go fuck itself, bro. And like, okay, let's be real here, right? Despite his old build, we're talking about the hood right now. And if he gets jumped by more than like 2 people, I think he would get smoked. I mean, let alone with 1 person. He's probably just a normal guy. He's gonna be very pacifistic about it in the real world. You know, unlike in game, this man's an absolute beast, bro. Holy. But like, okay, I think Agil, because he's just like a dude at the cafe, I think he's pretty compatible with the hood. Like, if you get what I mean. Like, if we're talking about them, you know, when it comes to thinking about them random ass dudes and the wife beaters trying to rob something, they're gonna be over here robbing stuff from, I don't know, secondhand phone stores, vape shops, or like a weapons store, like some other illegal shit like that. But Agil, bro, he just serves you coffee, man. If you just sit down with him and have a chat, he's gonna be your good old boss, man. Not in the corner shop sense, but like he's gonna have a very close status to that, if you get what I mean. I think low-key, no, literally though, like by the first like couple of weeks of Agil arriving in the hood areas, he'll be earning that respect, bro, especially when he serves that perfect blend, more opaque than the skin tones of the people around there. You know, he's gonna earn that nice little respect, and he's gonna somehow live in peace. You know, he's just that type of lad. Muhammad Avdol, yeah, he's the type of guy to fit in. This guy, like this man, would deadass fit in the environment of the hood within like the first like few days, and he's gonna make a bunch of like, you know, quote unquote friends, you know. But then there's gonna be that one day when they start talking about them suspicious powders and all that shit. And you know, we got Muhammad Avdol right here. He knows his lefts and rights, his rights and wrongs, you know. This guy's moral compass is so strong that he's even got a stand, which is, brother, you do not understand how difficult it is to manifest a stand. Even like the cheat code, which is known as the stand arrow, has like a really high percentage chance of you just straight up dying without getting anything. And Muhammad Avdol right here, bro, he manifested that shit, no problemo, no cheat code, no stand arrows. He's just got that aura farming mentality. And like, okay, speaking of aura farming, right, there's gonna be that one day when Avdol gets jumped by a bunch of guys. Like, don't get me wrong, Avdol is a good lad. He's not gonna be the one starting the smoke. And like the entire fight would probably result in like bro, he wouldn't even need a stand to actually just start beating the shit out of all of these guys. But the moment one of them makes the mistake of pulling out some sort of weapon, Nah, bro, the entire group is beyond saving. They're getting smoked quite literally. Like, bro, the moment you hear Muhammad Avdol pull out Magician's Red and start posing in a bizarre way, you know for a fact there's gonna be a local store of Kentucky Fried Humans opening in the local area. There is no saving for these guys, bro. Yeah, nah, he's smoking everybody. Yeah, nah, he is literally smoking everybody. His stand is literally built to do that, man. Come on. I don't accept any objections on that shit, bro. This guy is taking all the smoke. Mr. Popo. Dog, you're talking about the top of the pecking order. What do you think? Like, this is the reason. This guy is the reason why I didn't want to make this like a power scaling video. Because as soon as you add like any character from Dragon Ball, like, oh my days, bro. Mr. Popo, this guy looks like a Kamehameha shot by straight Goku himself, right? And mind you, this shit is like an intergalactic destructive missile laser beam thing full of energy. And Mr. Popo looks at that shit and then goes, oh. Damn, bro, this shit tasting like peanut butter. Come on, bro, get me some more of that shit, bro. And yeah, look, that's it. That's literally the end of the story. Like, that is the end of the story for you. That is absolutely wraps, because I don't even care if you're like an impersonation of a GTA 5 player in real life. I don't care if you got that RPG shit. If that rocket goes straight into Mr. Popo's mouth and gets digested like milk, you know for a fact you gotta run away from this guy. Like at that point, power scaling? No. Are we cooked? Yeah. Huh? Okay, but how things are gonna work when Mr. Popo gets sent to the hood is quite, you know, straightforward. Like, you gotta understand that Mr. Popo is basically like a deity. He's not really meant to interfere with whatever humanity does unless they try to straight up destroy the entire earth. But we're talking about the hood, you know, it could be a dangerous place for the average person, but they don't got the power to even pull that shit off. So like, I think the scenario that follows after after Mr. Popo gets sent to the hood is that he's just gonna have a nice walk. He's gonna have a nice and peaceful walk. He's probably gonna witness like a few sketchy transactions here and there, but like, let's be honest here, he's probably not gonna give a second glance, because again, he doesn't live to interfere with human life, you know, he's there to protect planet Earth, you know, as a whole. And like, even if this guy does get jumped by a bunch of guys, I'm pretty sure he's just gonna straight up ignore them. Either that, or he's gonna play around with them for like just a small amount of time before getting bored and like straight up leaving. Yeah, nah, I feel like he will just bail out in the sense that he's just gonna get bored, bro. Like, the only way you would be able to get this man's attention is if you actually have some scuffle with the Namekians like Goku did with King Piccolo. But let's be real here, like, the hood ain't got no green people, they only got black. Garterbelt from Panty and Stocking. Brother, we're talking about a guy who is basically a dad to 2 prostitutes. Bro, there is not a man that is any more fit than this man right here when it comes to living in the ends, bro. And that's the thing, like, I can't imagine any person in this world who would actively hate this man. Like, I feel like Garterbelt is like one of the most likable characters. Look, I might just be obsessed with big black men, but like, okay. One thing that should exist in every single area that is known to be the hood is a place of worship. You know, you gotta meet one of the members of the clergy at some point in time, you know, and when shit actually gets deep, and in Garterbelt's case, when shit actually gets deep, he can summon a pair of whores to, like, you know, deal with your business. Who the fuck wouldn't want that in their neighborhood? Low-key, like, this one's easy, bro. He's living in peace. He's living in peace easily. Super Alloy Darkshine. Dog, sending this man to the hood is the equivalent of sending this man to a mission, bro. What do you mean? Like, this guy is a hero. I don't care that he lost to Goro, bro. Like, losing to Goro, but I feel like shitting on Darkshine just because he lost to Goro at some point is the equivalent of shitting on Jogo because he lost to Gojo and Sukuna. Bro, let's be real here. Jogo easily fits within the top 10 strongest characters of JJK. And like, Darkshine over here is not even a joke as well. Like, how are you telling me, right? You trained your muscles to be so hard that you can basically tank literal nukes condensed within punches. Like, bro, this guy's Super Alloy title is absolutely no joke. And if he gets sent to the hood, if he's being put in an area full of a bunch of goons that only know how to inject a couple of bits of powder into their bloodstreams, then like, bro, Darkshine, he's the type of guy who would wipe out like the mafia mafia boss or whatever that's like working within those areas. Like this guy's gonna find out every single drug route and he's gonna find like the equivalent of Al Capone in the ends. And that boy right there is gonna get absolutely smoked. You know, absolutely smoked along with those other guys who are smoking something else. And then like the crazy part about this is that like by the end of this man solving this entire case in the hood, he's probably gonna drop some cheesy ass one-liner before he leaves. Like he's gonna say some stupid shit like, "Hey kids, I'm just gonna say that drugs are bad for you. No. Yeah, no, I think how the timeline goes is that he reaches the hood, he smokes everybody, gives them like a nice lecture to stop doing drugs, and then just leaves. Dutch. Yeah, nah, he's something else, bro. You see those guys smoking weed outside? Yeah, in our eyes, these guys are like, you know, bad guys. People you should stay away from. People that we fear. Brother, in Dutch's eyes, these guys are gonna look like a bunch of little kiddies who just learned how to do errands for their parents. Like, that is literally how deep down into the depths of society he is in. But we're talking about a full-time pirate here. We're not talking about just a normal-ass privateer. Dutch right here, like... what's like an equivalent word of professionalism maxing? Like, I know that's like a dumbass word to say, but like that's how I would describe this man. He ain't trying to aura farm, he ain't trying to be slick with it, he wants to get the job done. And if you put this in the context of the ends that we're talking about, and like I'm gonna be real with you, Dutch isn't the type of guy who would become like the absolute drug lord. He's more like the type of guy that would try to research every single route that's within the remote area and then find the root sources of that business and start smuggling that shit. Like, Dutch is best described when you say that he's the type of guy that steals dirty money from dirty people. And that is exactly what he's gonna do, and that's exactly what he's gonna get feared for. Bro, this guy's easily owning the hood, bro. He's taking control of he's gonna take control of every single business in the remote areas ever so easily. And he's gonna virtually become untouchable. Afro Samurai. Brother, I need people to stop recommending solo leveling and instead recommend people Afro Samurai. Like, if you have a guy that you want them to get into anime, I think like a good roster would be Jujutsu Kaisen, Naruto, Afro Samurai, and and like it's gonna be a tie between Black Clover and World Trigger. But Afro Samurai is a really good taster because it's only 5 episodes long. And if we're talking about the man, the myth, the legend himself, the beholder of the number 2 headband, then you would expect that this man would be cutting down literally everybody within like a 50-kilometer radius or what, like however big the hood is, you know. But like the thing is, Afro's only goal in life is to beat the guy who's got the number 1 headband. And even if you dial back to the version where before he owned the number 2 headband, then his objective is the number 2 headband. So unless he finds either of those headbands within the hood, he would bail out. I mean, he would literally just straight up leave the place. He would literally just straight up leave the hood, maybe try and get some info before he goes away. Or scenario B is that if he does find out that the holder of the headband is within the local area, brother, this man is going absolute ballistics. Ballistics, I'm telling you. Like, brother, I didn't expect Japanese sword fighting in the hood to be so peak, bro. And I know for a fact he's gonna reenact that shit in any area, given that the final boss is within the same hood. Muhammad Ali Jr. Look, I get it, Look, I know for a fact that the guy he's a reference of is mainly like a counterpuncher. But at the same time, he's also like a really aggressive one, you know. And when you're watching Junior's fights in Baki, this man is going 100% counterpunching, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And when I say counterpunches, bro, he weaves, he pulls up with a jab, and then he ends that interaction there. Bro, demonstrate a little bit more speed. There's literally a video of Muhammad Ali, the real deal, dishing out 12 punches within the span of 2.8 seconds. Why can't this guy do that? Why can't this guy, bro, we're talking about anime, bro. We're talking about the type of media where you can exaggerate shit to the fullest of extents. Bro, you could have made this man be able to throw punches as fast as Star motherfucking Platinum. And who is this guy in the show? Who is this guy in the world of Baki? He's a simp! And you know who he simps for? He simps for the main character's girlfriend. Bro! And like, bro, he's not even like the top of the top. This guy gets smoked by both hammers. And he can't even dream of laying a finger on Yujiro Hammer. Bro, I can call this guy so many names. He's a joke, he's a fraud, he's a simp, and like, brother, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets straight up smoked. He's gonna make the same mistake and he's not gonna get let off as easy as how Barky handled it, you know? He's gonna make the mistake of touching another guy's girl, and on the next day he's gonna get jumped by like at least 20 of them people. Miguel. I just realized that this man's track record is 0-2, but that is only because he went against Gojo and then Sukuna. And we're not even talking about Sukuna all the way up to the Culling Games. Now we're talking about perfect Sukuna, the man with 4 arms, the man who can multitask domain expansions and throwing straight hands. He fought against that guy and then straight up outboxed him, bro. Miguel was on that smoke before he made that smart decision to just dip, go poof, and run away like the average fathers in the hood. So like, again, he's got no worries getting ganged up, bro. Another thing, like, this guy has intercontinental connections, bro. This guy knows people across the globe. Bro, this man delivered the black rope straight from Kenya to the face of Gojo Satoru. And like, bro, this guy would be like a crazy network and all. But like, he's also got the crazy audacity. Like, when Gojo fully depleted the black rope, which is said to have taken literal decades to build up to that length at the time, this guy had the audacity to head back to Kenya, head back to where he got the rope in the first place, say that, oh yeah, yo lads, I low-key kind of broke the rope. Can I get some more of the decades of work, blood, sweat, and tears of some guy? Oh my days, bro. Like, not only would this guy be such a good rage baiter, this guy would be able to like, this guy has like literally no fears in asking for shit. Like, he's gonna get some crazy connections going and he's gonna pull up in the back ranks one day and then reign as the boss. Like, the thing is, everyone's probably gonna know this guy. You know, on one hand, he might be known as like the odd jobs guy, and the other hand, he's gonna be infamous for being like the most feared motherfucker in the streets. Either way, eventually he's gonna reign to the top and be pretty much the owner of the hood. I see the vision on that man. He's got like, as much as he's got balls of steel, he's got the wits to like pull that kind of shit off. And you know what he's probably gonna be doing a day? He's probably just gonna be running a kebab shop and be a chill dude for 90% of the time. Mika. Bro, I just realized that if you combine Agil and Garterbelt, you basically get Mika, because he's another cafe guy and he's also like the big puppy of 2 girls. And like, how he's gonna go by in the hood is that he's a very pacifistic guy. Like, he's so okay. He's had his military days, right? When it comes to like power scaling, he could beat the shit out of them random ass goons in the streets. Like, you'd think that this guy has a cane, right? You know, he can't move his body as freely as you would think he could. Nah, bro, when shit goes deep, this guy would throw straight hands with absolutely no repercussions. But like I said, he's got a cane just all for the purpose of not looking as threatening as he actually is. And like, normally, and like, you know, he's more of a pacifist guy. Like, he more or less just wants to live in peace in a cafe, managing a pair of girls to go on missions every now and then. So like I honestly think he'll bail out. Like, if he gets somehow sent to the hood, he's probably gonna bail out and go back to his own cafe back at home. Now the difference between Mika and Agil is that like, Mika can actually fight, so he's not really scared of leaving. Like, if he gets jumped by a bunch of goons, he's probably gonna beat the shit out of every single one of them and then like continue on with his way. But like, Agil, he's just a normal guy. When it comes to the scenario where like he gets put in the hood, his only option is to like survive, fit in, you know, try to earn the respect of the boys around there. But like, Mika has enough power so that he doesn't like. But Mika has, you know, enough power to get a second option, which is to get the fuck out of there. So yeah, nah, he's heading back to meet Chisato and Takina back at home, bro. Like, he simply ain't about that life. And there you go, that is going to be the tier list of how these black anime characters would survive in the hood. Again, if you enjoyed this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit that bell button to stay notified. And low-key, look, I'm gonna say one thing. I don't just like blindly make content. I actually look at the analytics. I'm seeing a trend where like all my gacha game related content are getting a lot of views. And don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be dishing out those kinds of content as well as my other forms of yippity yappitas. But like, what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to make this YouTube channel like specifically to be about gacha games, you know. you know, have like a bigger variety when it comes to like the types of stuff that I want to dish out. But I mean, if you got to this point in the video, then I guess you enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching, and that is going to be it from me. I shall see you next time.